Joaquin Lippincott, CEO of Toad, and I'm here today with Igor Krol, the CEO of Veset. Welcome, Igor.
Hi, Joaquin. Thank you for having me here. Let me talk about Veset a bit. Veset is a technology startup focused on developing SaaS platform for linear television. Veset started in 2011, and from the very beginning, we were focused on bringing cloud solutions for content owners looking to create and manage linear channels in the cloud. Our flagship product, Veset Nimbus, was launched back in 2015 and focused on professional broadcasters. And in 2019, we added Stratos. That's a simpler linear channel creation product available in AWS Marketplace, actually. Broadcast specialists refer to our area of expertise as playout. In more layman terms, it means technology enabling creation of a scheduled channel combining real-time live and non-live content, which is then produced into a live stream distributed to various platforms. It could be OTT, could be satellite, cable, and so on. Conceptually, SaaS playout seems to be like an obvious idea, but back in 2011, it was not obvious for anyone who was looking at broadcast industry back then. We faced a lot of uncertainty, and linear television itself faced a lot of uncertainty because lots of gurus predicted that VOD, video on demand, will replace linear completely. But here we are today. I think linear exists as a form, and in the past couple of years, it actually has picked up in the new forms of OTT linear, and SaaS solutions like ours has been very successful in terms of allowing people to launch channels from cloud and managing them flexibly across the world.
So you mentioned, I mean, clearly the cloud is important to you all the way into the naming of the products. Can you talk a little bit about why the cloud is so important?
Yes, I think from our perspective, cloud is very important because ultimately our industry, well, video content distribution industry has underwent a major disruption, and that disruption was mainly driven by on-demand business model, where instead of fixed long-term investments which you required with equipment which distributed video content in the past, and also high cost of maintenance of that equipment, people started looking to distribute content in a much more flexible way. And in that sense, cloud is underlying resource which is required to achieve that flexibility, both technically and commercially.
The shift from CapEx to OpEx sounds like it's hugely important. I can only imagine the types of equipment and investments that would have been needed to be made prior to you guys creating your offering.
Yes, that's exactly it. In the past, you would have to have equipment, you would have to have on-premise equipment, and also a ton of engineers looking after that equipment. That's a very expensive affair, and in that sense, there's very few companies could afford it. But these days, obviously, access to these resources are through public cloud, and solutions like ours, software as a service solutions, offer this flexibility, but also the feature set which is required to originate and operate channels without much of the investment, and also without limited support. With the limited support.
Right. Well, you mentioned playout being the category that you're in within the media and entertainment ecosystem. Can you talk a little bit more about how like what other components do you integrate with when you talk about M&E or the workflow that your customers are looking at? How does playout fit within that overarching ecosystem?
Yeah, in terms of playout and what we do, we cover quite a bit from ingesting content into the cloud, um, scheduling it, and actually playing it out and then delivering to the customers.
Hmm.
Where we sit, we obviously sit between post-production, um, and we work with various delivery mechanisms of live content which contribute into our playout. We
Hmm.
also work with multiple partners, for example, with VOD platforms, which we integrate with, whereas they deliver VOD content to different OTT platforms. We deliver linear channels based on the same content. We also work a lot with AWS products such as Media Connect, Media Live, and so on, which are
Hmm.
integral part of our product offering.
Yeah, the folks over at the media services at AWS are fantastic. Uh, so if I were to ask you about cloud technologies other than yours that you've heard about or read about, maybe you're interacting with, what are the things that, or maybe not at all, just cloud more broadly, what are the technologies that you find the most interesting?
Well, I would say that there's very wide range of, say, cloud technologies which are out there, and um, lots of our partners and competitors developing in that space. I think what we see, and this is what we do, we focus on what our area of expertise, and we try to work with others who do the same in the cloud. And actually, from our perspective, it works well because integration is relatively easy.
Hmm.
And we have REST API, and we work a lot with partners who have REST API and could operate in cloud. For example, we are in the process of integrating with Singular Life, which is a graphics engine, which is a very capable engine, which is a cloud-based solution. In the past, you would have to buy very expensive equipment to create live graphics, and they offer very interesting alternative in the cloud. We work quite
Hmm.
a lot, as I said, with AWS, and they recently launched Cloud Digital Interface, which is a very interesting product for tier one customers who want to process and deliver in the cloud high bitrate content.
Hmm.
Um, and overall, I think for us, very interesting space of ad insertion, which has a lot of competition, a lot of new ideas. We actually see kind of explosion of different offerings there. And there is no obvious winner yet. So that's an interesting space to watch.
And it's real. I mean, today, with the COVID-19, getting to actually interface with customers, getting in front of people, I think is more and more challenging. And if we zoom in on that for just a moment, what do you think the impact of the coronavirus will be on the media and entertainment industry over the next 12 months?
We think the picture currently is relatively mixed. I think we see a lot of kind of side benefit of people staying at home in the form of people watching more television and playing more video games. And in that sense,
Mhm.
the media entertainment is benefiting, but it has its own challenges in terms of uh, live events and live sports being limited, which limits the opportunities of live content production, high quality live content production. But we see that coming back. From our perspective, cloud as a technology provider will get a boost in this industry because people can see its benefits. working remotely, working from home, obviously, solutions which offer these benefits of working from, using cloud and remotely, basically benefiting from this crisis. But obviously there are lots of challenges still out there. Economically, there is quite a lot of risks, especially for smaller broadcasters, smaller content owners. So there might be some consolidation in terms of content production, and that's also a possibility.
Yeah, for our last question, let's zoom out. Let's go a little bigger and just talk about the cloud more generally and business more generally. What do you think the impact of the cloud will be on business, say, over the next 3 years?
From my perspective, what will happen is that business will gain more flexibility from adopting cloud, so that both technologically and commercially. So they will be able to consolidate their operations, which especially large organizations which had desperate kind of parts of their business, and cloud allows you to put it all in one place or under the same roof. I think when we talk about business we are in, or the segment we are in, which is linear television, we believe that it will evolve as a form of content distribution. We see a lot of experimentation on the part of content owners, and I think the industry in that space will evolve. Instead of recreating what used to be 24/7 channels, there will be many different forms of content distribution overall. And obviously OTT will be the prevailing form of distribution of content, and cloud will play the major role in doing that. It's already playing, but I think in that sense, it will, I think, in many places replace traditional forms of distribution.
Agreed. Well, Igor, thank you so much. If people want to get in touch with you or Veset, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can find more information about us on our website at veset.tv, or send us an email on info@veset.tv. We'll get in touch with you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.